Donald Trump's essence is he says we're getting ripped off. Our workers are getting screwed. It's not because they're lazy or stupid. It's because we have a bad system that is hurting them, and it's destabilizing the country. And all of these are data points that kind of make that point. And once you realize that, you realize you have to do something, right? The purpose of the economy, first of all, obviously, is national security. But after that, it's to distribute resources and wealth so that most Americans live the best lives they can live. And we have lost that. We have just plain lost it.
It hasn't been an accident. It doesn't feel necessarily like we've evolved into this. It feels like we've been guided into this, that this is a result of calculations and an ideology that still exists, most prominently in the pages of the Wall Street Journal, which, let me just say, is a disgusting, dishonest newspaper. But even if you like the Wall Street Journal, they have a very kind of clear ideology, which they've promoted along with almost everybody in Washington, that free trade is the path to prosperity. And then, in fact, it's like a moral imperative. Like, if there's something dirty about abandoning free trade. What is that? Obviously, you know a lot about this since you've lived in Washington a long time.
So I would say, first of all, that I say the Wall Street Journal, they have editorialized against me by name more than 30 times.
No,
by name.
You. Oh, me too.
Yeah. So well, we have that in common too. I say they have the diversity. The editorial page has the diversity of opinion protocol of somewhere between Pravda and the People's Daily.
Yeah.
It is their view, and they keep it. So why did we get to this stage? To some extent, it was kind of misguided. To some extent, it was wealthy people pushing it because it was good for them. I'm not one who subscribes to the view that it was people trying to hurt America. I think it was they just didn't care one way or another whether it hurt. They didn't care, for example, who owned America.
Right.
They didn't care what percentage of our global wealth ended up in the hands of our working people. Those were not metrics. What they cared about was price optimization and how much we could consume. And that's the opposite of what people like you and I believe in. Conservatives and a lot of labor Democrats believe we have to worry about values and preserving what's great in America. We're not interested in sort of the materialism of maximizing, optimizing prices and maximizing consumption. And that's more or less where there's a combination of that. There's a combination of this financialization of America, of taking profit out right away so that a few people get very rich, regardless of the effect on others. If you think of the evolution, Tucker, it's and we could talk, from the beginning of time and about trade and how it evolved. But for our purposes, you would think of it basically as America really from the early 1800s basically became wealthier and wealthier, largely behind the American system and Alexander Hamilton kind of an idea of tariffs and subsidies in the nation in the nature of canals and roads and the like. But tariffs were a key part. By 1870, we had started to turn surpluses. By 1890, we're the richest country in the world, all right? And it kind of progresses like that. Now we can talk about that back and forth, and those were almost all Republican presidents during that entire period, only two Democrats during that entire period between Lincoln and Franklin Roosevelt. And basically, tariffs were a key tool, and there were ups and downs in that, and we can talk about that if people are interested. But we got to the Second World War, and then we had a different challenge. We had to rebuild Europe. We wanted to rebuild Japan for stability. We wanted to fight communism in the Soviet Union. These were our motivations. And so at that point, we needed a new system, and they developed this new trading system.
We're always looking for cool companies that make products that make you feel better, and that's how we ran into Bond Charge. Bond Charge offers a wide range of products that improve your physical condition, help you sleep better, perform better, and center your mind. Recover faster, maintain energy, etc., etc. They make blue light glasses, red light therapy, a lot of different products like this. and they help you address the trials of modern life effortlessly and naturally. Now, one of the things they make is a sauna. We could go on and be boring about sauna, take one every single day. But on Charge makes a sleek infrared sauna blanket. It's got a similar effect to a Finnish sauna, but without the intense heat. It's an easy and comfortable 30-minute session you can enjoy while relaxing with your family, talking to people, reading, and it leaves you feeling refreshed and slightly euphoric, but in a good, healthy way. It's a great addition to your wellness routine. You may even drop a few pounds doing it. Bon Charge ships worldwide. Bon Charge, by the way, is BONCHARGE, offers free shipping and allows for easy returns and exchanges. So go to boncharge.com/Tucker. Use the coupon code Tucker to save 15%.
And the trading system was sort of based on the notion of we'll all reduce barriers, we'll all do better over a period of time. I would say that was at times it was a successful idea, at times it wasn't a successful idea. But by the time we got several decades into it, we started seeing people being more and more industrial policy. And by the 1970s into the late 1970s, we started to see our situation get worse. We started having trade deficits. You'll recall that Nixon in 1971 put tariffs on the whole world in order to decouple from gold. And we can talk about that if people are interested. But there were a lot of things that were sort of signals, and that was kind of the peak. By the time we got to Ronald Reagan, as I say, there was already a loss of a lot of jobs. There was an unsettling among our working class people, which, as I say, unlike a lot of places, it is us. It's 70% of it. It is us. And then you found yourself, the Berlin Wall fell. There was this notion of the end of history, that for now on, everything is going to be better. We're all going to be democracies, and we're all going to have open markets, and there's all this greatness. You can remember
Frank Fukuyama and other morons. Yeah,
they're right. So then you found yourself with Clinton in the 90s. The end of Bush, it's not, because I don't want to be totally partisan. The end of Bush 41, Herbert Walker Bush, and then into Clinton, and we have what I call the trifecta of stupid. All right, we do NAFTA. We do the WTO, the Uruguay round, that big, and then the dumbest of them all, we give most favored nation treatment to China, and those things are done more or less in the times of about 10 years.
So Clinton for the most favored nation status, that was something that Clinton set it up, but Bush signed it. Is that correct?
No. It passed under Clinton. So this is an interesting fact. In like 1997, I did an article for the New York Times, and you'll recall during the second Clinton election, there was this talk about Indonesian money came into the Clinton.
I remember very well.
Yeah, well,
Johnny something or other.
Yeah, exactly. Was it at the Commerce Department?
Yeah.
I did an article which the New York Times published. It sort of said, well, what's this about? This is not Indonesian money; it's Chinese money. What does China want? They want most favored nation treatment, and they want to get into the WTO. And if they do, there won't be an American job that's safe. So this is 1997. Fast forward, you have this vote. Clinton is pushing it. By the way, it passes with more Republicans than the Democrats. The Republicans are worse on this at that time.
Wall Street
a lot
Journal
of them have
again.
kind of learned, and then we have these things pass. So we have this trifecta of stupid, as I call it. And then we have 5 million manufacturing jobs lost. You just see jobs lost. Wages are basically not going up in real terms since then. The rich get richer and the poor get poorer. And a lot of these very bad outcomes for working people, I would say for the country generally, you can say came at that time. Now, if you say, was the system deteriorating before then? For sure it was. But this was like somebody just putting it on steroids and acted like, the only thing that they missed about the evolution of economics was human nature, right? Everything else they got right. They just missed human nature.
As always.
Yeah. So then you saw very bad things happen over a long period of time. You got to the point where you had 2016, you had President Trump, as I say at that point, had been complaining about this general notion since he was 35, since he was a kid. And he kind of gets the populist movement, he's elected. And then we have whatever happened in 2020. a COVID thing that ends up affecting our election, and now we are again because we changed in Trump 1.0 or whatever the computer people say. We changed the way people think about these things, and they didn't really change back much in Biden. To Biden's credit, I think some of his people were very good, but overall they didn't make a lot of decisions to make better what we did, but they didn't make it worse. And now we're in Trump, where we're in a position to actually make substantial changes. But and I know that's what you want me on here to talk about. But the most fundamental thing is the system has failed America generally, and it's failed our working people dramatically, and that's been going on for in an acute state for at least 25 years.
Thanks for watching our YouTube channel. We hope you'll subscribe to it. And by the way, you can hit the little bell on there and get notifications every time we produce a video. We hope you'll do that also.